Time with Zach and Jameer. My name is Jameer Wilson, and I'm co-hosted by Zach Wright. And today, the name of the game is All Stars Only, where we will discuss All Stars, the starters, the reserves, and snubs alike. We also will do our own All Star draft.
Let's get it.
And speaking of drafting and creating and doing other things, let's do some catching up because I've been taking a lot of pictures and stuff lately, and I've been enjoying that. And how about you, Zach? What's going on with life?
Going on with life? I mean, I did mention I had an interview for grads on the last episode. I did the interview and I did get accepted, so that's cool. You know, that's a nice little win under my belt. Still going to be applying to other schools and stuff just to give myself some more options. You know, it's nice to get that little congratulations, you've been accepted to so-and-so. So, yeah. Other than that, just been working, trying to, pay the bills, things like that.
I hear you. Congratulations on that. That is awesome.
Appreciate it, my guy.
And speaking of getting accepted and things of that nature, we are going to start off with some of our biggest snubs for starters. So, Zach, could you talk to me a little bit about how you felt with the starters that were named recently?
When it comes to starters and reserves for the All-Star game, I really don't think it matters all that much in my eyes because you don't remember who started 3 years ago or not. They're all All-Stars. But one thing I found interesting was the case for Dame out west, because Luka has the whole continent of Europe on his side in terms of the fan vote, and then he is playing great, so he's gonna get recognition from coaches and fans and players because Luka is great. However, Dame definitely is up to this point. He's put up a strong case that he should have been the starter, averaging 29.6 points, 8.1 assists per game, and 4.3 boards. His team is fifth in the West as of now, I believe. Those things change every day, so it's hard to say at this point. But Luka's team at the time of voting for All-Star starters, Luka's team was a losing team. The record was negative at the time, whereas at the time Dame's team was positive, the Blazers. So I don't know. I feel like Dame definitely should have at least got it off the fact that his team, with the things he was doing, is leading to wins. And the Blazers definitely, especially with CJ McCollum going down, without Dame, they're garbage. They're a plus 8.4 on their on-off record with Dame, or on-off numbers, excuse me, is plus 8.4 points with Damian Lillard on the court. So, the team essentially falls apart without Dame. So I just feel like that should have been factored in. I'm not gonna say I feel like Dame should have started. He definitely has a case. Because, like I said, just the way it's all just broken down, it was a given that Luka was going to start, and then Steph, even if he was having an off year, he probably still would have started anyway, just because Steph's way too popular. The man literally changed the way everyone plays basketball. He's going to be an All-Star starter regardless, so that's not even worth debating because Steph had it from the get. The second we found out he was going to be healthy this season, we knew he had it. But yeah. I don't know if Luka or Dame should start over one another because I feel like their cases are both very, very similar. But I do think Dame definitely had a shot. And how about you, Jameer? Who do you think was snubbed from the starting lineup on either the East or West?
I think Damian Lillard has a very compelling case considering how hard he's played this year through the injuries that the Trailblazers have had. Although, with that being said, I think Luka Doncic also played through a lot of injuries, especially considering KP was out for a good chunk of the year, and they still remained relevant, even though they weren't winning considerably. They still remained in the hunt, and now they're an 8th seed. So I don't, with KP back, well, I think we'll really start to get a chance to see what Luka is capable of. His numbers are rising. He's shooting more in the range of 35% from three, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty close to good at this point. with that being said, my snub isn't Damian Lillard. I think it was absolutely flagrant and egregious that James Harden is not an all-star starter. I think the fans, the coaches, whoever it was, they got it very wrong. When you talk about James Harden and the season he's had, it's been an interesting year for him because he basically, as we all know now, forced his way out of Houston because he knew he wasn't going to be able to do anything there, which is the smart move for him and which was the right move ultimately now, as he's on a championship contender that is looking like they're starting to really put it together on the offensive end. They've beaten some really good teams, and he's played games without KD as well as Kyrie, and he also is the team leader in rebounds, league leader in assists, and he's third on the team with scoring with 25 points per game. So he's doing an excellent job of being consistent as well as holding down the fort when other players are injured. I think Kyrie Irving, I think Kyrie Irving should be an all-star. I think it's very clear that he should be an all-star, averaging 27 points per game and quietly having an excellent season. But over James Harden, I think not. I don't think it's close. I think that James Harden and Bradley Beal were the two clear all-star starters for the East in the backcourt, and then for the rest of the positions, I think that the East and West were correctly picked. There is some argument about the fan vote and the fan vote percentage. For me, I actually want to throw another question out there, just for the sake of this argument. What do you think that the percentages should change for the fan vote? Because it does get a little ridiculous. A few years ago, if you can recall, Zaza Pachulia was in the running for the longest time, and we all know that Zaza Pachulia is not one of the best players in basketball. And then
he wasn't hooping though.
He was hooping, but come on, bro. This year, you got guys like Alex Caruso in the running to be an all-star. And it's like, yo, Alex Caruso, are you serious? Why is he even in it? I would call for the league to shorten the percentage for the fan vote at the very least, because I feel like players should have more of an input on the picture of the All-Star game, especially considering the fact that you have to go up against these guys on a night-to-night basis. So what do you think about that? What do you think when I say that?
My stance on it, honestly, I feel like the fan vote is just fine, because at the end of the day, the All-Star game is not for the players. It's for the fans. And that's the fans are the ones making the money, giving them the money, getting the revenue and all that. So, yeah, I feel like the players should have input because they're the ones who are involved. And that's, it'd be nice to be honored amongst your peers. At the same time, I feel like the fan vote helps make the All-Star game more interactive for the fans, who are the ones who are actually sitting there watching it. So I don't think they should lessen the percentage. Your argument with about Alex Caruso and whatnot, although that is stupid that their names even appear, on the top 10 players, I just feel like the league should be a little more, picky as to who's on the ballot, because they don't release the ballot until you can't even start voting until at least this year until January. So they have time to decide, all right, who actually has a shot at making the All-Star game. And they definitely could do that. Klay Thompson's name was on the voting thing. And the man was ruled out in October that he wasn't going to play for the rest of the year or whenever he got hurt again. So I feel like that's not even on fans at that. I mean, it's on fans at that point to vote because they're voting uneducatedly in an uneducated fashion. I love I said uneducatedly talking about education. I think that's hilarious. But they voted in an uneducated fashion, and I don't see anything wrong with the fan vote being 50%, because at the end of the day, again, talking about Dame and Luka, it doesn't matter. It's apples and oranges at that point. They're so close. The Kyrie and Harden thing, I don't know if the fan vote was like could have been that much of a difference because Harden was definitely one of the highest voted guards. So at that point, that also includes the players and who else in the media. Players and media voted against Harden in some way too at that point. So especially the way Harden forces his way out of Houston, you know, some players are probably, oh, that's mad weak, blah, 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 I'm not voting for him. So I don't know. I think the percentage should be fine. If anything, they need to be a little more strategic as to who's on the ballot. Because like seeing Caruso and Klay Thompson and like you said, the famous Zaza Pachulia votes, like being that high is like, what's the point? It's just that's just wasted votes at that point. But yeah, that's how I see it.
I think it's foul that these players are taking votes from other people because it's just like you know they're not getting in.
Yeah.
So why are you voting for them? Like, if a dude's hooping, it's cool to give him his roses, but Alex Caruso, what has he done? Oh my
God. That's a goat. This man said egregious.
It's
strongly about your position.
Yeah, because it's just like I just feel like they sway. Like you have so much control, and I think more so like I agree with your sentiment about it being apples and oranges about being a starter. But I think that actually is a perfect segue into our next point about the snubs for reserves, because they not only have power for the starters, but they have power over who is getting in the game in general. And the thing is, we do remember, oh yeah, a couple years ago he was an all-star. A couple years ago he wasn't an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're playing with reserves and whatnot, then it's like, because you already know, as you said, like Steph Curry, if he's healthy, he's getting in. Giannis, he's getting in. LeBron, that's a definite. That's not even a question.
Mm-hmm.
KD, same thing. But with certain guys like the guys that we're going to get into, like some of the guys this year, for example, the guys who were really, really heavily debated upon, like Devin Booker was a huge argument. Shout out to him. He gave me a lot of likes and retweets this week on one of my posts. When you talk about Domantas Sabonis and crew, so it's just you hold so much power, and if these guys are going to be all-stars or not.
I feel that. Before we segue into the reserves, I do want to note, Harden got Player of the Month in the East, so your feeling of egregious voting definitely does hold weight because that man's been hooping, and not Houston. Brooklyn was looking a little nutty for a while, lose to the teams like the Cavs and whatnot, but since Harden's gotten comfortable and been nominated the point guard of the team, they've definitely elevated their game, as has he. So yeah.
Yeah, so I know I'm right. The NBA should know I'm right. But, so speaking of apples and oranges and in or out, who do you think was the biggest snub for reserves?
I mean, the biggest snub? I don't know if this is the biggest snub, but obviously, there's at least someone that I wanted to see in the game. And the name that came to my mind is Bam Adebayo. And he's averaging 19.5 points, 9.7 boards. And I believe his assists per game is about 5, or if not a little over. And I feel like if he had to be over somebody who got selected, I'd say Ben Simmons. Because I have a feeling Ben Simmons was like the wild card pick. Because his inclusion is a little like, I feel like he's included because his team is doing well. So like, all right, let's just throw another Sixer in there. And they chose Ben Simmons because he's the second best. But yeah, if I had to pick somebody but him. But Bam's just as great defender, all around player, can guard. He switches, can guard big men and guards. He just his mid range has improved as well. He's hitting 40% on pull ups and 45% on catch and shoot mid range jumpers now. And his free throw percentage has increased dramatically. He's now hitting 85% of his free throws. which is like a major jump from last year. I believe last year he was only hitting about 67%. And he made the All-Star game last year. He's having a much better season this year. So, it's always interesting when a player improves and doesn't get, the honors that they've gotten the year before. So, I don't know. I feel like Bam was definitely an interesting exclusion. But, yeah, how about you, Jameer? Who do you think was a big snub?
That's pretty easy for me. And I'm going to right away. I'm going to agree with you and say that Ben Simmons would be my target. Because yes, I'm a Sixers fan and I love Ben Simmons, but my issue with Ben Simmons is he was very like lackluster to say the least at the beginning of the year on the offensive end anyway. But I think the fact that he's playing such excellent defense is helping him, and he's also being buffered by the fact that he's on the best team in the East right now. But you've had when you think about it. You've had significant improvement from Joel Embiid. You've had improvement from Tobias Harris. You have a much more balanced roster with shooters. And I think the entire situation benefits him in a way. In Atlanta, however, Mr. Trae Young averages 26 points a game. He's shooting 43% from the field, 37.8% from the three-point line, which is very respectable. And he's playing really well. I think he hasn't gotten the notoriety or recognition just because of the fact that they're like lower in the Eastern Conference. Like they're a couple games below the plan, or like they're like 2 games back from being in a play-in situation right now, which isn't bad considering you've had multiple injuries. Like Bogdan hasn't played much this year. They were really counting on him to step up in the scoring department. Gallo hasn't played that much. Rondo hasn't played as much as you would want him to. So they've had guys in and out of the lineup. And when you talk about Ben Simmons, it's been a stable situation all year pretty much. Injuries haven't really hurt this team. You've had Joel Embiid, who's probably had the best season of any player in the league. Tobias, as I said, has improved greatly. And some people even thought he could possibly have an outside shot at an all-star game. And you have all that around you. And when you talk about like comparing the numbers straight up, if I'm not mistaken, he was also an all-star last year. And he's playing just as well, if not better, also. He's averaging 26, as I said, and he also averages 9.4 assists and 4.2 rebounds for somebody who's super small. And when you talk about the turnovers, like comparing the turnovers, Trae Young averages 1 more whole turnover in comparison to Ben Simmons, but the difference between Ben Simmons and Trae Young is Trae Young runs the ball a lot more than Ben Simmons has to because, he's either finding shooters or Joel Embiid has the ball a lot one-on-one in different situations, and the ball also touches Tobias Harris's hand. So I just feel like he has a lot more going around him than Trae Young. Like, although they're not in the playoff picture, they're extremely close for the injuries that they've had to some key pieces. And also, as I said earlier with stability, they just lost the head coach. The coach just got fired. Lloyd Pierce, what's his name? Pierce?
Yeah, Lloyd Pierce.
Lloyd Pierce. Yep, Lloyd Pierce, yeah. So he's fired. You're probably going to roll with Nate McMillan for the rest of the season. No. The thing is, like, yeah, I'm happy for Nate. Yeah. Shout out to Nate. I think that he's gonna do a great job. Speaking of Nate, shout out to Nate McMillan. It's good to see one black head. It's sad to see a black head coach have to depart, but it's great to see another black head coach take his place, which I'm happy about that. But just he hasn't, Trae Young hasn't had the stability, so I think that he was robbed.
Word. No, yeah, DeAndre Hunter on the Hawks, he was having a great season up until he got hurt. So that's another big player that they can use to help them out.
Exactly, averaging 17 a game. He's shooting 36% from deep. So he's playing. He was playing well too. And then when we talk about like snubs and stuff of that nature, and like who should have been in the game, some would even question, should the game even be going on? Because there's a more, big thing than just playing a game going on in the world right now.
Got the Rona out here. We talk about the All-Star game.
COVID is alive and well, and that brings us to our next question mark, I would say. And should the game even be happening?
So I think the game should not be happening because, for one, we got COVID out here. We recently got over 500K deaths from COVID in this country. Like, I don't see the point in, doing something that could further exacerbate the situation, at least in Atlanta, because, the All-Star is going to be out there. And yeah, they're saying the players aren't going to be going out partying and whatnot, and they probably won't. But nonetheless, you're bringing a big-time event to a city, and that's just going to, make people feel like they want to do something to celebrate the moment. So as for the game shouldn't be happening, just for the fact that COVID's in the air, and just in terms of players feeling like they earned it, and the badge of honor in playing the game. I feel like most players understand that it's okay to not have the game, and at the end of the day, they're still going to have that All-Star on their resume. And there's especially a lot of players who, some of the reserves. I'm sorry, Sabonis is probably not going to play more than 8 minutes in that game. He's about to travel all the way to Atlanta to play 8 minutes and probably score 2 points. And it's just is that worth it? No, it's not, because he's still gonna have the All-Star moniker, and that's what matters. So, I just feel like the game is just, they're trying to make money, and they're talking about they're gonna donate money to HBCUs and all that. But if you really want to donate the money, you could just give them the damn money. You don't need a whole game to do that. Y'all got the money to just donate this money. So it's all just a front. I respect the fact they're gonna give the money to HBCUs, which is great, as they should. But again, they don't have to play the game to do that. They could easily just write the check and go about their business and be COVID safe. But that's my 2 cents on the matter. How about you, Jameer?
Man, the NBA can just donate that money. HBCUs are extremely important, and I think that they should just go ahead and give it to them right away. They don't need extra funds and resources to do so. They have all the resources in the world. But aside from that note, should they be doing it? I think we need to go into how the season has already gone with COVID protocols and things of that nature. And it's been very weird, to say the least. The one thing that I think will play back in my mind for the next few months at the very least is KD going into a game for a few minutes and then coming out and then going back in, and then they're saying he couldn't play for the rest of the game when he's already been out on the floor with all these people with no mask on. And it's just I would probably have to say no on this one, although I think there are ways and measures that they could take to make it a safe thing. I think if they did maybe a quarantine for a week before and then a quarantine for a week after, but that would probably be the only way I think they could do something like that, especially considering the fact that there might be celebrities in attendance. Who knows? They're probably going to have some Grammy Award winning singer and some rappers and stuff there and all that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of in between on it, only because, as you said, All-Star Weekend isn't just for the players, it's for the fans. Because we both love the dunk contest, especially if it's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
We love the 3-point shootout.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite.
Yeah, the skills competition is interesting. And then to round it out all with the All-Star game and the USA versus World game. There's just so much that goes into All-Star Weekend, and All-Star Weekend has been such a big commodity for years. So just having that, I guess, uh, brings some form of normality, I would say, to this crazy situation that we're in, and it also brings something that's a fan favorite. So I'm kind of stuck on that because I'm not necessarily mad that they're having it, but at the same time, I can understand people who say it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, I don't know, just yeah, the game's cool and all. I definitely enjoy watching it, especially if they're doing the same rules as last year, which I believe they are with the out of the point totals, and then you need to score like 24 points. The team with the highest scores needs to get like 24 more than that, and that's how you win. But the game is like it's just one game, and it doesn't. It's just they're doing a lot of work to get one game going, and then finding a charitable cause to justify it and all this. It's just a lot. I get players get bonuses and all that from the game too, so there is benefit in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just they're doing the most for this one game. Then you got like these randoms in the dunk contest, like because they're so shout out Fernie Simmons and I don't even know who else is in it at this point.
Obi Toppin and oh God,
Obi Toppin he needs to take this Sunday and work on his game instead of going to the dunk contest. That man has been struggling in New York, but at least the 3-point shootout's about to be fire. But they literally the 3-point shootouts they just took the players already in the All-Star game and just shoved them, excuse me, the 3-point shootout, which works out absolutely because it's entertaining. But like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
like they just throw anybody into these events just to make the events happen. And it's like really
that's a fact. Apologies. It's Cassius Stanley, Obi Toppin, and a nerf-free Simmons.
I heard Cassius Stanley. I've heard of him. I know he got bounced, so that'll be interesting to see.
Or Inferny Simmons. Yeah.
Like, and then there's this gutted out dunk contest of 3 dudes. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that it's 3 dudes in the dunk contest. I like the traditional format of having more people.
Yeah. So you see, I just watching all the extra measures just makes you just sit there and be like, why? Like, it's not that. Is it that serious? And I just don't feel like it is at this point.
Yeah, that 3-point shootout is definitely going to be fire.
It is going to be fire. I love how Jaylen Brown went from a non-shooter to a 3-point shootout contender. That's dope.
Yeah, I love how Zach LaVine has gone from the dunk contest, a 2-time dunk contest champion, to somebody who's now going to be in the 3-point shootout. And if he wins that would be fire.
I feel like that's never happened before. Like anyone like competing in both, let alone winning both.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Damian Lillard did it a couple years ago, but I don't think he won both though.
Word. Okay.
Yeah, because in fact, he did both on the same night, from what I can remember.
Okay.
I had to find out which year that was, but he did it. He competed valiantly in both, from what I can recall. Yeah. I don't think he won. In fact, I don't think he won either.
Yeah. If LaVine wins that 3-point shootout, that's definitely good shit.
Yeah, and that solidifies him as an all-around player and somebody whose talent is top tier, which he's already proven. He's having an excellent season. Yeah. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I feel like we'll discuss this COVID stuff more in our next episode. However, I think now would be a good time to do the All-Star draft, and oddly enough, at the time recording, the actual All-Star draft is happening. So we'll see how our picks measure up to the picks of the actual voters. But yeah, I think, Jameer is going to go first, get a little Twitter poll. Just had people vote randomly, and Jameer won. I guess I'm not as cool as him. That's okay. It's fine. I'm not offended. So yeah, Jameer will vote first, and so LeBron picks, and I'll be doing the Kevin Durant picks. All right, so Jameer, you're going first. So who you got?
All right. With my first pick from All-Star starters, I will select my favorite player the player that I believe is the third best player in the NBA, and the reigning All-Star Game MVP, Kawhi Leonard.
Okay. I respect it. Right now, you know what? Just for old time's sake, Durant would be playing, but in the world where he would, I'm going to go with Curry, who I think is the third best player in the league. And he gets buckets. So, yeah, your turn.
Fascinating. All right. For my next pick, I'm going to go with one of the fan favorites. I'm going to go with someone who right now is having an MVP season. Give me Joel Embiid.
You're a fucker. That was my pick. I was ready for it. It's okay.
It's my dude. I love Joel Embiid.
All right. Well, if you're going to Embiid, I want to go with the other center. I'm going to go with Jokic, the do-it-all big man.
That's a dope pick. He's being very slept on, by the way. I think that he is also very quietly having an MVP season. MVP caliber
was
season.
playing better. They'd be talking about it, but his teammates have been a bit subpar. They miss Jeremy Grant way too much.
They definitely do. There's no doubt about it.
Where are you at, bro?
I'm going to go with the guy who was heavily debated, Mr. Luka Doncic.
All right. And then I guess I'll go with Mr. Halfback Dive, Giannis Antetokounmpo for my next pick.
Oh, Lord, not Halfback Dive. Not him. James Harden doesn't pass. All righty. I got to think about it. I have LeBron, Kawhi, Luka, and Joel so far. So I have two playmakers. I have a big. Got some wing defenders. This is a dope squad so far, and I really like my team. But I'm going to go ahead and take a showstopper, somebody who I don't think should be starting, but I'm going to take him anyway. I'm going to roll with Kyrie Irving.
Okay. So that's 5 for you. And I guess I just end up with Beal and Tatum then, since KD's not playing, I just get the last 2 remaining starters.
Right. So you would get Bradley Beal and Jason Tatum. And how about this? To make it more interesting, since I was able to pick the starters first, how about you go ahead and you get you get the first crack at the reserves?
Oh, you're gonna play generous LeBron?
Yes, I'm gonna play generous LeBron.
If we doing that, ooh. I'm gonna go with Harden. Because I feel like you said, he actually should be starting. So I'm just going to get Harden and then round out the bench with the next best player.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense. That means James Harden should be starting. But, I guess people just had a clear oversight. So, okay. For me, with this next pick, I will select Damian Lillard because a lot of people think that he should be starting.
I like the pick. However, I think you have made a slight oversight here. I'm going with Davis then. If you're going to take Lillard, 80 gets busy on both ends of the court.
That is very true. He scored the game-winning bucket last year.
Mm-hmm. That was like his first shot. That was his first legendary moment. Hopefully he has more, because that definitely was like. Then we think about Anthony Davis when we're 50 years old. We're like, remember that time he hit that shot against the Nuggets? So yeah, just love how he hit that.
Yeah, that was He definitely He's got some work to do. All right, now it gets a bit tougher. But I'm going to roll with somebody who a lot of people gave a lot of hell to. And I'm going to roll with my guy, Paul George, in a surprising move.
No, he's having a great season, low-key. People slandered him so much, we just kind of stopped checking for him, but he's hooping.
Right.
Okay. Ooh, it does get kind of hard now. You know what? I'm gonna be a complete homer, although I do feel like he's the best. Not the best, maybe not the best available, but yeah, I feel like he's the best available right now. I'm going with Jaylen Brown. Like Donovan Mitchell's nice, but Jaylen Brown just be getting busy. He do his thing.
How did I know you were going to take both Celtics?
The Tatum one was not by choice in my defense.
That's fair. But my next pick is going to be a guy who actually played pretty well in the All-Star game last year, but got smoked last night. I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert.
Oh, Lord.
He got absolutely torched by Joel Embiid last night.
To be fair to him, that's just Embiid's doing that to everybody nowadays. So.
Yeah, that is crazy. But on to you.
Definitely getting difficult now. I'm gonna go with my guy Zion, because Zion definitely, this is his first All-Star game.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that, and it's funny because I was looking at him too. I'm sad because I knew you were going to do that. I had a feeling that you were going to do that.
I had to, bro. You know he's next up.
Yeah, he's on his way. And speaking of players that are on their way, this was kind of tough for me, but I am going to roll with Julius Randle as my next pick.
That was gonna be my backup. I was thinking it's between him and Zion for me.
That guy has been balling.
He has been balling. I love Julius Randle. I wish he was on the Celtics so bad. Like when everyone was sleeping on him, I want Boston to get him so bad, but it's okay.
They would be perfect right now if they had Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm. They would sleep too, obviously. All right. If you get Randle, I think I'm going to go with Chris Paul, who you feel like might have taken Devin Booker's spot on your slight Twitter rant where you're getting attacked by all these Suns fans. But I'm going to go with Chris Paul. I feel like he definitely deserves it.
Oh, Chris Paul is dope. I don't even like doubt his skills. Like he's dope, and he played a lot and played well in the All-Star game last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's tough, gritty. I like him. My next pick is going to be, let's see, and I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here too. And although I don't think he should be here, I think he provides a lot on the defensive end. So I'm going to roll Ben Simmons.
Okay. I respect it. I mean, when he started the year, he was like mid, but ever since about probably like mid-January, up until like now, he's been pretty good.
He's picked it up, yeah.
He picked it up. I feel like that's how he got in, because he definitely picked up his game.
Right.
If you're going with Simmons, I guess I'm gonna go with Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
He's having a tough season.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell is. I think like his stat line isn't like super awesome or anything like that, but he's playing very, very, very well.
Right. I feel like when his stat like this, I feel like that's good that his stat line's not too crazy, because that means he actually has help.
Right.
He's not the most. He can shoot. He's not like a shooter. You know what I mean? So like forcing him into these tough shots and stuff, due to lack of help, is like why they struggled to make out the first round. And they got Mike Conley, who was at first looking like some mid, but this season he's definitely playing well. So I think it's a good sign that Donovan Mitchell's not averaging like 29 points a game.
Right. And speaking of somebody who's averaging a whole lot, who's versatile, and who needs a little more help, I'm going to say Zach LaVine is going to be my next pick.
I respect it. Levine's having a nice year.
Absolutely. And there were 3.
All right. You know what? I know who I should pick, but it's an all-star game. It doesn't matter. So
That's
I'm going
true.
to go with Vucevic because I like Vucevic and he gets buckets. He's underrated. So I'm going to put him on my team.
That's fascinating. I was thinking about him too. But I do not mind because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Domantas Sabonis as my final pick, which would also give you Devin Booker.
Yep.
So that's pretty dope. And we're locked in. So for my team, I have LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and Joel Embiid as my starters. And for my bench, I've got Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, Domantas Sabonis, Julius Randle, and Zach LaVine. I love my squad. And what's your team, Zach?
You got Curry, Giannis, Jokic, Beal, and Tatum for starters. Poor Durant out here getting injured and whatnot. It is what it is. And then for my bench, I got Harden, Davis, Jaylen Brown, Zion, Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, Vucevic, and Booker. Zach 6, by the way.
I think my squad would take it.
You think so?
I think so.
I'm glad you believe in your picks. That was fun, though. That was enjoyable.
That was very enjoyable.
All right. Well, that's it for today's episode of Game Time. This is Zach, hosted by Jamir. Thanks everyone tuning in. We appreciate y'all. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at GameTime_podcast, on Twitter at GameTime_ZNJ, as well as Facebook at GameTime with ZNJ to stay up to date on further content. And to listen to future episodes, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. We can't wait to talk more basketball on Game Time.